How's it going, guys? I'm Mike Dwyer from the Bunker Recordings and BetterMixes.com, and today I want to talk to you about what I think is the best amp sim for anything pop punk, rock, pop rock, etc. So, as I'm sure you know, there are a ton of amp sims out there, and companies are coming out with more and more every day. So, I just wanted to introduce you to this one if you didn't already know about it, because it really kind of blew my mind how good it was. And which one is it? It is Tonehub from STL Tones. So STL Tones is primarily known for their Kemper packs. They get super badass engineers and producers to put together, their best guitar tones, and they would sell that as a pack for the Kemper. But fairly recently, they released this plugin called Tonehub, which basically works like a Kemper for all of their profiles in plugin format. So when I saw this, I was super excited to try it because I've never had a Kemper, but I have a ton of friends who have them and rave about them and rave about these packs specifically. So I was excited to finally get to try them. And they definitely did not disappoint. I'm fortunate enough to have a lot of really cool amps in my studio. So up until recently, I was never really satisfied with any of the amp sim plugins that I tried. Just none of them sounded as good as my real amps. But this one's kind of changing my mind on that. So when you buy it, it comes with this core pack here, which has a ton of different tones. To me, these are all okay, but not amazing. But where it gets really fun is with the producer packs that I mentioned. So these are all for sale separately from the plugin itself, but I think they still have the deal going on where when you buy the plugin, you can get one producer pack for free with it. So for the style of music I personally do, my favorite pack that I've tried so far is the John Feldmann pack. So let's just jump through a few sounds here real quick, just so you can see what we've got in this pack. I'm just going to click through some of my favorite presets so you can get an idea of what you get out of this. So a lot of really cool tones. And obviously, like I said, this is just one pack. There are a ton here. A couple other ones that are really good are, the David Bendeth one I really like. Let's flip through just a couple of these. So yeah, that'll give you an idea of the David Bendeth pack a little bit. There are obviously a ton of presets in here, but those are just some of my favorite ones. The Howard Benson pack is awesome. The Lee Malia pack is awesome. They just released this Zach Cervini one, which is really, really good. I like it a lot. But my favorite tones in this are really, really similar to the John Feldmann ones, which kind of makes sense because they work together on a ton of albums. But so you probably don't need both the Zach Cervini and the John Feldmann. Then they've got some awesome sounds for some heavier music. They've got Brian Hood and Will Putney and the dudes from The Ghost Inside, and the Andrew Wade ones are really nice. So there's just a ton of options. And you can demo each one of the packs so you can really try them all out for yourself and see what works for you and your music. But anyway, let's go back to this John Feldmann one that I had pulled up. And let me just show you around the plugin a tiny bit more. So once you go through the presets and pick out something you like, then you can tweak it a little bit more down here. So these are all like your normal amp settings. You can turn your gain up and down, your EQ controls, all of that stuff. And then you have a cabinet section where you can move the mic around, and that's a pretty cool feature. You can put a couple overdrives or compressor or whatever in front of the amp. Then you've got an EQ, and then finally some effects with reverb, delay, and a bunch of modulation. So you can really tweak the sound and dial it in to exactly what you're going for. But anyway, I decided to go with the Runaway preset in the John Feldmann pack for this example because it was actually really, really similar to the tone I dialed in on my amp while tracking this song. So just for fun, let's put the doubles back in. Then we're going to flip back and forth between the real amp right here, which is my Mesa Boogie single rectifier going into a Vox 412 cab with Celestion creambacks in it and mic'd up with just a 57. And then we'll swap to these two channels here, which are the STL Tonehub on the Runaway preset. So real amp first. And now the plugin. So obviously they don't sound exactly the same, and they shouldn't because it's a totally different amp and a totally different cabinet, and maybe a different mic too. It doesn't say here what he was using on this. But still, they sound fairly similar. Let's flip back and forth again. So far, listening in solo, I would be totally happy using either of those tones in the mix. But now, let's actually put it into the mix with some bass and drums and see how they set. So once again, first we'll do the real amp, and then we'll switch to the Tonehub. So in this particular case, I still prefer the real amp, but I really don't think it's a matter of better or worse. They both sound really, really good. They're just a little bit different. So out of those two, you might prefer the plugin, and that's totally cool. And I could probably even get the plugin sounding a little bit better in the mix, because this is literally just this preset, and then I just pulled the output down to match the gain roughly. But I didn't even go in and tweak any of the EQ or the microphone placement or anything. That's just straight up the preset. So, that's pretty dang good. So let's listen again to the Tonehub, and we'll start on the same preset. Then I'll flip through a few different presets in the mix so you can see how they set. And real quick, let me show you one other amp sim plugin that I think is really, really good. I personally don't like it quite as much as Tonehub, but maybe it'll work better for you. So this is it here. It's from Neural DSP, and it's the Archetype Nolly plugin. I'm a huge fan of Nolly. He's an amazing engineer, and his plugin here doesn't disappoint. So it's got 4 amps to choose from. I don't remember what this one's modeled on. This one is supposed to be kind of a Marshall. This one is a PV6505. And this is a Victory something or other. I don't remember the model name of that one. And then each one has a corresponding cab. And in addition to all the controls on the head, you also have a couple of microphones that you can move around and some pedals. Again, we've got some overdrives and some delays and reverbs and all of that. So let's hear what this one sounds like. So here it is in solo, and we're using the Marshall type amp here with the matching cab. And I'll just flip through the 4 different amps so you can get a feel for what they sound like. So a pretty wide range of tones there, all the way from clean to insanely distorted. So a pretty versatile plugin with some killer tones in it. Let's hear that in the full mix. And let's just flip back and forth between the Nolly plugin right here and back to the Tonehub. So yeah, both of those sound really good. Once again, I personally prefer the sound of the STL Tonehub, but if a band sent me the tones from the Nolly plugin to mix, I would not be bummed at all. I could totally make those work. And for the style of music you're doing, maybe the Nolly plugin is a better fit. So one last time, I'm just going to flip between the Nolly, the Tonehub, and the real amp. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, be sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe. And let me know in the comments down below which one of these you preferred. Or if there's another amp sim that you really like that maybe I haven't tried. Also, be sure to head on over to bettermixes.com to grab a free copy of my Ultimate EQ cheat sheet. And one more thing, I just started a new Facebook group. I have a link for that in the description. If you're on Facebook, come join the group. I've got some really cool ideas for it. I want to do some giveaways, some contests, some Q&As, lots of fun stuff. So be sure to join.